Boom. Rise and shine, little darlings. It's another glorious Marine Corps morning. It's another little cool morning in the state of Alabama, in the city of Northport. And I like it. I like it. I know the hot weather's coming, the mosquitoes, the sweat, the humidity. I know it's coming. I'm enjoying every minute of this cold weather. And my dogs are too. People were worried about my dogs being outside and when it was cold the other day. I got up the other morning when it snowed and I looked outside and they lay in spread eagle out there in that snow and then wrestling and fighting. And one of them was walking over there literally with my hand in the air. I'm telling you this, my wife saw it, was licking and eating the snow off the sliding board. Dogs, man. Now in the summertime, they're miserable. But in the wintertime, they good. They got a lot of fur. So thank y'all for being concerned about my animals. And I am too. I love them. I buy high dollar dog food and I pet them and I call them sweet names. I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll this morning. Get your coffee. Let me see if I can get you guys dialed up here. Get your coffee and get your Bible. And we're going to meet right here. Let me see. Oh, get out of the way. Let's see what we got here. All right, Brandy and Elaine and Dez and Clarence and Diane and Beth and Kim and Julie and Nick and Elaine and Linda. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are y'all? How are y'all? Hey, Miss Lois. Yes, ma'am. I like it. What's up, Jess? Oh, Jess, I'm thinking about something. I was going to tell you I slid in there yesterday dropping those kids off at school. I put them out so fast that they couldn't land on their feet. They just skipped in there on their tail. Hey, Rob. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Kathy. Not really. We waited in line like we were supposed to. Hey, Jim Pennington. Well, hey, Amy Bigham, good morning. Larry Wood and Sharon Shirley, good morning. Hope everyone's well. Tammy Mack, everybody good? Hey, Tina. Drove right past your place yesterday, Tina. Not your house or anything, but right through the middle of Centerville, going to Selma to watch the kids play basketball. Hey, Miss Mary. Hey, Deb Spencer. Good morning. Ron Bowers. Ron. Never do that again. Yeah. He said, Papa, Rhett said, Papa, we haven't paid for the day. I said, how do you pay for the day? He said, you have to pay it ahead of time. I said, I'm going to give you $5 and put you on the corner and tell Julia Floyd she can let you in or you can stand outside. I didn't know. You know, Rhett's a rule follower. He was wringing his hands. Ann Randall, she didn't care. She just get out and walk. Lord have mercy. What's up, Doug Jones? Everybody good? Where is everyone? Man, the cold weather just... You guys are like Teslas. Y'all just don't run or take a charge in the cold weather. Oh, all them folks got them Teslas up in Chicago. Plugged them into the chargers. They won't even charge it so stinking cold. Hello, did anybody graduate high school with science and physics? Hey, Kay. Hey, Bill. Hey, Sherry. It ain't gonna run in the cold weather. Hey, Tammy Mack. Hey, Jim Mathis. Hey, Shay. Lord have mercy. Help me, Jesus. All right, here we go. Cups up. Toast to the morning word crowd. God bless you and God bless America. Here we go. Get a little sip. Shout out and prayer for our soldiers, our teachers, and our police and fire officers. Thank y'all so much. Hey, Daryl. Hey, Miss Mary. Hey, Caleb Boone. All right, let's go to Mark chapter 3, and then we're going to slide over to John chapter 11. Mark chapter 3, John chapter 11. Here we go. Rock and roll. Hey, Miss Victory. Hey, Kim. Mark chapter 3, verse 1. And he entered the synagogue again, and a man was there who had a withered hand. So they watched him closely, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. This is a setup, guys. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, step forward. This is Jesus now. Then he said to them, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill, but they kept silent. And when he had looked around at them with anger, he mad, being grieved by the hardness of their hearts, he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. Then the Pharisees went out and immediately plotted with the Herodians, and that's a key phrase there because they despised each other. So here the enemies, as they always say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Here enemies are conspiring, or the word used here is plotted with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him. All right, now mind you, it's against their laws to heal a man on the Sabbath. And Jesus knows that this is a plant. Jesus knows this is a setup. And they, all right, so it's illegal, according to the Sabbath laws of the Pharisees, to heal a man on the Sabbath. Yet, after Jesus heals the man, and I'm not going to go into the Sabbath and all their rules, but Jesus healed the man. So now they go out with their arch enemies to plan an assassination on the Sabbath. A little oxymoronic, wouldn't you say, that you can't heal a man on the Sabbath, but you can plot another man's death, right? That's what they are. Now Jesus is angered and he's grieved by the hardness of their heart. Okay, so who in normal everyday life would you suspect to be the first people to recognize that Jesus is the Messiah? It would be the Pharisees, the ones who were the students and the teachers of the law being the 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And in all of those, there is the foretelling, the foreshadowing of the coming of the Christ. They should know this, but their hearts are hardened. We're going to talk about that in a minute. John chapter 11. And Jesus has just raised Lazarus from the dead. Okay? Not going to go into the background any more than to say Jesus has just raised Lazarus from the dead. Over here, he heals a man on the Sabbath, heals a man completely on the Sabbath. Here, he raises a man from the dead. Verse 45. Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary, talking about Lazarus's sister, and had seen the things Jesus did, talking about raising him up, they believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees. Now, you know when you read that phrase, it's bad news. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. Then the chief priest and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, what shall we do? For this man works many signs. If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him. And the Romans will come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them, Caiaphas, being high priest that year, said to them, you know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and not that the whole nation should perish. Okay? And it goes down and says in the next verse that he was prophesying that Jesus would die for the nation. He didn't even know what he's talking about, but he was telling the truth. So here's the morning word. The insatiableness of power. The insatiableness of power. The word insatiable means that it is incapable of being satisfied. It is incapable of being satisfied. And greed and power and money and prestige, to human beings and to fallen man, it is an insatiable desire. Because in power and prosperity have the promise, of prestige, and success and power, itself. And so people seek that in unhealthy ways to their own destruction. That's what's happening right now in the world. Where there is wars and rumors of wars, where there is bloodshed and conspiracy and corruption, all you see is man's bloodlust for power and wealth, power and prosperity. And there is no length, and even in the religious wars between Islam and all other religions, Islam and all other religions, or Hinduism and all other religions, they can be pretty violent too, is that they're trying to prove that their God is greater than your God. And Islam does so, and it's written in their Quran that they do so with power, that they crush their enemies, that Allah empowers them to crush their enemies. So it's all about power and authority. It's all about being worshiped. Men worship wealthy men and women. That's why Hollywood is so influential. And that's why our pro athletes that make so much money are so influential, is because people worship them. They want to be like them. They see themselves in them. And so power is absolutely blinding to obvious truth. Look at these people right here. They are so jealous, the Pharisees, they are so jealous of Jesus that they are blinded with jealousy. And the reason that they're jealous is because they are in a position, and comfortably in a position, of power and prosperity. And they are as high as you can go, really, religiously, in the nation. And they are comfortable there. And they like it there. They like to be viewed by the people as being people of wealth and power and prestige, and it gone to their heads. They were supposed to be pointing people to the Word of God. They were supposed to be pointing people to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they were supposed to be the first ones to recognize the Messiah when he came on the scene. They weren't doing any of that. They were cooling their heels and living in luxury at the expense of the people. And their group was tight. There was a couple of defectors. Nicodemus was one. Joseph of Arimathea was one. Those were a couple of the defectors. But by and large, those people, were blinded with jealousy over Jesus. Why? Because we just read it here. He was a threat. When all of the people started going after, I'm going somewhere now. When all the people started going after him, they said, this can't keep going on. Because if this continues, here's what it says, we're going to lose our place. And here's what they said, and we're going to lose our nation. So the high priest, just speaking out the top of his head, didn't realize that he was prophesying, and God was going to fulfill the fact that one man, that is Jesus, would die on behalf of the nation, but not just the Jews, also the Gentiles. So he didn't even know the full orb of what he was saying. But the point was, this small group of people, religious people, God followers who pray, who go to the synagogue, they are just bloodthirsty for power and prestige, and you can't see it until it's threatened. Oh, snap, it make me want to speak in funny languages here. You can't see it in them until it's threatened. Now, this same kind of greed and this same kind of lust for power resides in every one of us. And we really can't see it until it's threatened. When we have a downturn in the economy and we lose a lot of money, all of a sudden people jump off buildings and you go, I didn't know that his God was his money like that. You don't realize it till it's threatened. Or that somebody's going to vote you out of office. Or that somebody's running in an election against you. Or that somebody else is taking the test to be the chief. or that somebody else is applying for your job, or that somebody else, see what I'm saying? And it becomes a threat. Now get this. These guys came together, even enemies, to plot the death of Jesus for the sole purpose of removing him as a threat to their power and their prosperity. And I point you now to the United States of America, to the Congress, to the Senate, and to the presidency of the United States. And you would have never known that these people were as corrupt and greedy and insatiable for power and prosperity until one comes along who is a threat to their position and to their power. And then even those who are enemies, the Republicans and the Democrats, the liberals and the conservatives, conspire together to say, if this man continues, we're going to lose our place and our nation. So they plot. 2024. Got some big things going to happen. There is no limit. Look at it right now in Iran. Look at it right now in Russia. Look at it right now in China. Look at it right now in Lebanon. Look at it in Ukraine. Look at it in Ukraine. There are people that are in power in these countries, and inside these countries now are some good, godly, Jesus-fearing, born-again, our brothers and sisters in Christ, Christians. And there is some insurrections that are taking place that are some grassroots inside Iran, inside of Russia. But there are people, and inside China, and there are people that are running those countries that are absolutely insatiable. Kim Jong-un in North Korea, insatiable for power and authority. Right? I mean, what is Israel doing on a daily basis that's a threat to Iran? And I'm talking about before all this started. What were they doing on a daily basis? They were just living their lives, And Iran wants them gone. Now, Iran's hatred for the Jews is rooted and grounded in religion. But nevertheless, the same motive, the same activity is at work, demonic activity. And that is the obliteration of those that we see as a threat to our power and authority. It happens on every strata, on every level of our culture and our society. In the schools, the hospitals, the rubber plant, the rubber mill, in churches, a lust for power and authority. Preachers getting too big for his britches. People are going to him instead of coming to us, so the deacons plot his overthrow. I'm telling you. Don't say it didn't happen. I know right now of a church that went behind the scenes of the congregation and bought their preacher out. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Say it ain't so, it's so. The insatiableness of power. So what are we supposed to do with that? Watch yourself. Watch yourself. And ask yourself your motives for what you're doing. And Jesus said one of the things that we can do, okay, to guard against greed is to be a giver. And one of the things that we can do to guard against the insatiableness of power is to take our towel and our basin and serve others, wash feet, instead of trying to sit on the right hand and on the left hand. because we don't even know what we're asking. I hope America sees this. I hope we see this as Christians. I hope we see it in our own communities and where it's at work, throwing coaches out of schools and teachers out of schools and principals out of schools and preachers out of churches and leaders out of businesses, coaches out of college. We need to watch it. It's in us. Guard against it. Jesus was grieved by it. Matter of fact, he was flat out mad. That ain't good. We'll see you Monday. Good Lord willing, and the saints don't rise. Peace out.